Hello there. Happy New Year from Billy Ho Sports. Welcome to the show. We're just going to get you updated on the year end sort of Kentucky Derby contenders for 2025. The 2 year olds will now be turning 3 year olds. Everybody, if you didn't know this about horse racing, they're all considered January 1 to be the following year. They age a year, no matter if they were foaled in, excuse me, April, May, February. They're all 3 years old. So this video is just going to go over some of the more recent stakes we've had since the Breeders' Cup in November. We've had several, especially in December, some winners, some surprises, some new sort of shooters, so to speak. So we're going to go over all that and introduce you to a couple of horses. And then we'll go over at the end, stick around, top 10 list. We love a list. It's just my own compilation of the top 10, I thought, of maybe just the 2 year old season, so to speak. And then I'll discuss some of my thoughts on those rankings. So let's get after it. Please sub to the channel, hit that like button for me, and let's talk about these horses. So we are going to begin with sort of a preamble because a couple of new Bafford horses popped on the scene. Like Bob didn't have any horses in his poor stable. He's just got a plethora of 2 year olds vying for this Derby trail, and he's just really going to have just numbers game with him. So one of these are going to hit. Race 2, actually, I did several videos. I appreciate all the support for the Boxing Day videos at Santa Anita, Malibu Stakes, and all that good stuff. Well, in race 2, on the same day, Bafford entered 2 horses, San Saba, which was a debut first-time starter, and a Matticat Road. Matticat Road had already debuted, ran second to Bullard in the Bob Hope Grade 3. So San Saba was highly touted, unraced horse by Justify. Matticat Road took him to task down the stretch. He rallied to defeat his stablemate, who was weakening late. I don't really know what that means for San Saba. The horse looked pretty good going around the turn, wasn't being asked for much, and then once he was asked, he kind of just ran out of gas, like he had a leaky fuel tank. But that race was pretty good. I think Matticat Road could be one we'll see on the trail sooner or later. So moving on from there, you always want to know who's hot, who's not. Well, who's hot? It's not a horse. Trainer Owen Hardy. You may not be familiar with his work. He does a lot of turf racing. He worked under Bob Bafford during the 90s. So he was involved in developing Derby winners, Silver Charm, Real Quiet. Remember that big run Bob went on in the 90s when he seemed like he was winning it every year? So now he's head trainer for Godolphin's U.S. Enterprises. And so the first time I came across it was First Resort. My original pick was Clock Tower, who should be running somewhere still from his last race, but he scratched out of that race. So that was lucky for me because I was able to go back and relook and handicap the race. And I really liked First Resort, sired by Uncle Mo. The move from turf to dirt, everything looked pretty good. The speed figures were all there. I liked the angle. So I picked him to win. And by the time they hit the straightaway, he already secured the lead. It was a beautiful trip. So nothing wrong with that. But finishing third in that race was also Tistastic. So Tistastic is trained by Steve Asmussen. And that horse won twice in 2 weeks at Kentucky Downs during their short meet. He also ran second to the horse Sovereignty at Churchill Downs in the Grade 3 Street Sense. So great pedigree, tis the law, and should be on the Derby trail, I would say. But going back to Owen Hardy and his success he's had with these 2 year olds, Turf to Dirt, the other one, Budding Stars Poster, that one won the Grade 2 Remsen at Aqueduct. Remsen is a real test because it's one of the few that go 9 furlongs, and not too many ask horses to go 9 this early in their career. But Remsen's one of them. And Poster came into that race winning both his starts on turf. But sired by Munnings, he had the speed, but the average win distance didn't suit for this. So I didn't really consider him a strong contender. But he set off the pace and under strong urging by the jock was able to hold off the late rally by Aviator Gee. And so, in my opinion, Posters 9 furlongs is his limit. I don't think he'll be on the Derby Trail. That's just me. Chad Brown's Aviator Gee looks like a Derby trailer. Good closer, maybe his 2025 Sierra Leone type. He's by Uncle Mo. He's got Tappet on the dam side. So good looking horse for Chad Brown and his crew coming into the 2025 season. And then if you're looking for other trainers and horses that upset the apple cart most recently, Mike McCarthy would be one of them. McCarthy, I think, just had his first Derby. Endlessly was his first Derby starter. I think was what I looked back on him. But he has journalism, and he entered that horse in a 5-horse field versus 3 Bob Bafford entries in a race that Bob Bafford dominates, which would be the Los Alamitos Futurity. He's won 8 out of the last 10, I believe. So he had Gaming, who is a top entry, and Getaway Car, who's a really good one. Those both drew a lot of interest, but he still got some respect at 5-2. So he stalked behind that Bafford duo, and then he put them both to bed down the stretch, pulled away by 3.5 lengths. So journalism is the son of 2-time Horse of the Year Curlin, who relishes the classic distance, and Bullard is another McCarty hopeful that won the Bob Hope Stakes last month. So Bullard is probably McCarty's most solid one, I'd say, of the two. Journalism did look good in that race, but he's largely untested. Mm. So, even money favorite and destroyed Mackenzie Street did Bullard in the Bob Hope. He's by Gunrunner. Love Gunrunners. Gunrunners have not been able to get a Derby winner progeny just yet, but there will be one, I'd say, in the near future. Lots of good ones there. We'll talk about that in a minute. Another horse I wanted to discuss briefly was Rated by Merit. Got a lot of buzz. Closed at 50-1, I believe, in Derby Pool 2. Trained by Mike Yates. Sired by Battalion Runner. Swept through what is the Florida Thoroughbred Owners Association stakes season. They have several stakes where they start them at like 6.5, then they go to 7, then they go to mile and a 16th, like that. But they build them up, so to speak. New York does their Thoroughbred Stallion series similar to this. Very fast horse. I don't think he'll end up on the Derby Trail. He's his average win distance is a little short. Battalion Runner colts are not really probably not a big enough sample size to be sure of. But if you remember, the Breeders' Cup Sprint runner-up Ben Tornado, who actually scratched out of the Malibu yet the other day, he tore through these races last year, and he ended up being more of a sprinter. I think that's where the Rated by Merit ends up going. I don't think he stays on the Derby Trail. He could, because he did win, because Ben Tornado in the longest race of the FTBOA, Ben Tornado faded to third, which Rated by Merit did not. Rated by Merit still ended up pulling out the win in the 2-turn mile and a 16th. So I don't know. I don't think he wants to go much further than that because it's a pretty good clip from 8.5 to 10 furlongs. So one of the other preps recently, Springboard Mile at Remington Park, produced a big field, very competitive race, as opposed to the Gunrunner. I believe there was like 10 or 12 at least in this race. I landed on Jolly Samurai, who did not get it done in that race. But I was also very high on Cole Battle as a value play in the 1 hole, and I kind of predicted how he would win the race. saving ground on the inside, and then he went wide on him down the stretch and ran by him late. So really good stalking trip for Cole Battle in that one, 7-1, and he was able to run down a very good Speed King, very game. Speed King is possibility we might see Speed King down the road. Post time favorite Speed King wasn't able to hold off the close by Cole Battle, but still ran a very good race. And then speaking of such gun runner stakes, like I said, just a 5-horse field, only in its 4th year. So that's kind of disappointing. They can't get a bigger field than that in a fledgling type race like this. Well, Admiral Dennis was your post time favorite. He was 50-1 in Pool 2. I picked Render Judgment. He broke poorly, stumbled badly at the start, never really got into the race like I thought he would. Admiral Dennis, kind of the same. He stumbled a little bit, but really not as much an excuse in my opinion. But neither of those factored in the outcome regardless, because Built was out of the one post. Wayne Catalano broke well, went right to the front, sat down. Veteran jockey Lannery was able to slow it down to the tune of 24 and 64th opening quarter, and then 49.23 for the half mile. And just to put that into context, Track Phantom won this race wire to wire in a similar fashion, but he set fractions 23.61 and 46.93. So 46.93, a full 2 seconds faster at the half. So that goes to show you how Built had so much gas in the tank down the stretch. He unloaded down the stretch and won by more than 6 lengths. So moving on. Now, some more horses to watch. That kind of covers the December stakes races, but more horses to watch in 2025. Brad Cox has Patch Adams, you may have heard of. He was on the Derby Pool 2, sired by Into Mischief. He tracked the leaders and destroyed the field down the stretch to win by 10 in his second attempt to break his maiden. An excellent run race for a horse that should be a major stakes player in the next couple of months. Another one getting a lot of buzz was Donut God. People like the name. 2 for 2 so far, getting some buzz. Broke his maiden at Churchill Downs, and I'll be looking a lot more toward that. A lot of these horses have at least raced at Churchill Downs, because I believe every winner in the Kentucky Derby going back in at least 2020s, 5 years or so, have ran at Churchill Downs as a 2-year-old. So keep that in mind. Inaugural stakes for Donut God was 6 furlongs. He showed good speed on the lead, held off 2-time stakes winner Naughty Rascal to get the win there. Another horse that I'm interested to see what comes next for is Showcase. Todd Pletcher trained horse, winner of the Saratoga Special back in August. If you out of sight, out of mind, so to speak. He had a minor hind leg injury, so they decided to put him on the shelf for the rest of the year. But it's a not a big deal, minor injury that he's probably already healed up for. Hopefully, he'll be back on the training or back on the track soon training, because you hate to see developing horses miss time. But if you're going to miss time, probably the tail end of your 2-year-old season is the best bet. You don't want to miss time and have an injury in the first part of the year where you're missing valuable time training up toward the Kentucky Derby, obviously. So if you watch that race, the Saratoga Special back in August, he had to fight for some space. He got kind of trapped inside, but he muscled his way and got clear in the 2 path, and then ran by First Resort, who we just spoke of. Owen Hardy's horse, First Resort, ran by him easily. Obviously, First Resort went on to win, and this is how good the horses were in this race, the top finishers. So, second place finisher, First Resort, goes on to win the Kentucky Jockey Club. Third place winner, Smoking Wicked, 2-race winning streak. Touchy was the post-time favorite, probably disappointing 4th. He got his maiden win the next race. Even Keep It Easy, who stumbled at the start, finished DFL, is the winner of the Ed Brown Stakes in his recent race. So lots of winners coming out of that race. And obviously, after January 1st, they're all going to be 3-year-old prospects, and many of them aiming to keep many many of them beginning their campaigns in earnest. Many of them aiming for these key prep races coming up down the road to Kentucky Derby. So we are going to close the show with an updated Kentucky Derby top 10 contenders list. Let me hear it in the comments. Who you like, who you don't like, and we're going to start. You can't take Citizen Bull out of the number one spot, in my opinion. He hasn't done anything since winning. He is the 2-year-old champion, obviously, pointing toward 2025. So Citizen Bull won. I'm going to go Bullard. I love the gun runner in his bloodlines. Like I said, Cyberknife, Taba, almost had it with Sierra Leone last year. I think that Gunrunner, this horse Bullard, is a not a dead closer, but a stalker who can be in position to get it done. So Bullard 2. I don't know how far he'll go. His breeding suggests he'll be in the mix. East Avenue, I gave a pass for the bad luck in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. A, he had a not so good inside post. B, what killed him was he stumbled almost to his knees out of the gate. So being in the one post and stumbling like that, never got into the race, just draw a line through it. But his first couple races at Keeneland were eye-popping. He showed both front end and back end speed. He showed really good push down the stretch. Pedigree wants the classic distance, so he's in there. Still pretty highly thought of by me. Another one I'm pretty high on is Sacrosanct. I don't know if this horse is legit or not, but he just looks so damn good in New York. All 4 races. Talk about sweeping the New York version of the Florida Thoroughbred Association. That's what he did. He's actually sire. He's by Honest Mischief, who's actually son to Into Mischief. So there's his first crop. Honest Mischief, if you recall, 2019 winner of the Wood Memorial, so sort of on the Derby trail for a hot minute. I think it's still up in the air if he wants 10 furlongs or not, but the prep race showed his desire to get there. So, Chancellor McPatrick obviously still needs to be in there. Disappointing outcome in the BC Juvenile, but a 2-time Grade 1 winner deserves a top 5 spot regardless. Great 2-year-old season. He got caught up in a bit of a slow pace in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile compared to what they were running at Del Mar. They were just ripping it up. This one definitely wasn't able to gain ground down the stretch. Also, the next up, I mentioned Showcase and why I thought his Saratoga Special was so good. People may not think he belongs here in the top 10, but son of Uncle Mo, I think he's going to start 2025 in good health. So hopefully he gets back on the trail. I just really love that Saratoga Special effort and the horses that came out of that race and what they've done since. So that just gives me good vibes. Sovereignty. He wins going away in the street sense. Several horses improved since that race. Sandman got off the schneid. Dapper Moon both won their next races. Tistastic, solid 3rd place in the Kentucky Jockey Club. All those horses were defeated by Sovereignty in that race. So, probably not controversial, but I'm putting Barnes in the top 10 just for the pure upside. The maiden win at Churchill Downs went viral. He showed both a lot of immaturity and a rare kind of speed down the stretch. And he earned a 105 Beyer speed figure for a debut. Not too many horses get triple-digit Beyer numbers on their debuts if you weren't aware. So that's big time. We'll see what his next race is going to be. Hopefully soon, right? Going to be out west, most likely. Aviator Gee, I like that effort, that closing effort. Son of Uncle Mo, improved by leaps and bounds, running the close second to Poster in the Remsen. And by the way, R.I.P. Uncle Mo, he just recently passed away. So it would be kind of fitting if he was able to sire the 2025 Kentucky Derby winner. And so I had a little controversy at the end, right? I was going to put gaming there, but then I went back and I rewatched the Los Alamitos Futurity. I think Getaway Car, and I'll give you another reason in a second. Getaway Car looked good in the lead down the stretch, was outrun by Journalism. So Getaway Car gets number 10 spot with honorable mention of Journalism. I think he beat him straight up in the Futurity. Both are sired by Curlin too. I think both are classier than Gaming. I forgot who Gaming sire is, but it's like Game something. Not a it's a relatively new sire. So my main reason is the breeding. Also the trainer. I mean, Bob Bafford is X times more likely to get Getaway Car to the Derby than Mike McCarthy is, or to win a Kentucky Derby. Mike McCarthy, very inexperienced Derby trainer. So that was my main reason there. But with plenty of Derby Trail action beginning next weekend in 2025, extensive coverage on its way. We got the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn and the Jerome at Aqueduct next weekend, which is July or January 4th. So have a happy new year, a safe New Year's Eve. Don't drink and drive, all that kind of stuff. We're going to catch you in 2025. Best of luck to you. Thanks for all the support. Subscribe and like. Beep boop. See you soon.